if you're a client or a real estate investor listening to this, I think this is a problem.
Yeah.
Right? You don't generally buy real estate or invest in real estate on short-term basis.
Yeah.
You don't buy a property and in the next 3 months you want them to sell it for you to make the same money that has been projected to you.
Yeah.
So for example, I could have said this property will give you 100% return on investment in 1 year.
Yeah.
And in 6 months or 7 months you want to sell it, and in your mind you want 70%
of
that money, since it's not up to 1 year now.
Yeah.
But then again, you make a mistake, because at the end of the day you are going to be rushing. For example, I have a client who called me on Friday before my trip. He was telling me that he has a very nice property in one of the estates that we sold 2 years ago. Property is ready. Property is 2 bedrooms, going to be going for as much as 90 million naira.
Wow.
And he wants me to sell it. I told him, how long do you want it? He said, if I can sell it tomorrow, that he will get. But the truth about it is that he will not be able to sell it at the price anymore, because
he's
there's
on
desperation.
Yeah, he's on distress.
Right? So if you want to maintain profitability with real estate, you must allow the time that it is designed to have.
Yeah.
There was a conversation around somebody who bought a land for 7 million in 1992, and in 2025 it's valued at 3.5 billion naira. Right? Of course, there was a conversation around inflation and all of this, but that's not the context here. The context here is that for it to have been 7 million in 2025 and 3.5 billion today, a whole lot of time
has elapsed. Yeah.
Right? You can't expect to make that kind of money and then do it within a short period of time.
Yeah.
Right? So real estate is long term. You can get some immediate return. You can flip it as fast as possible, especially when you're a professional and then you are in the business.
Yeah.
You can flip and quickly get your money. But then clients, investors should, if somebody dies in the village, they want to sell their property quickly.
Yeah.
Something happens, they want to sell. Real estate doesn't work. I think that's one of the advantages of the business.
Yeah, and I've also learned that there is a difference between investing in real estate and doing the business of real estate.
100% correct.
Yeah, I at least personally, correct. I know that, having been a little into real estate right now, I know that there's a difference between business of real estate, because I know prior to ending of last year, where we decided as a company we now want to go into real estate, all I was doing was basically investing in real estate. So I can just get, money, just buy a single estate plot, just keep it, hoping maybe to resell later. But being into the business now, I found out that, man, it's
a whole lot.
It's quite different.
I wish I can say something again, but after when the camera is off, I'll tell you.
Okay.
Right, but either way, there's a whole lot of money to be made, and I think where we should begin to dive this conversation into is the strategies.
Okay.
From your end, how do you maximize profitability in forex trading and reduce the risk? Both of us will agree that the risk in forex is quite high.
Yeah.
In fact, arguably at the highest level of risk in the entire business world.
Yeah.
The stock market has its risk, but forex is way higher.
Yeah.
Real estate has its risk, but real estate cannot compare to forex or the stock market at a global level, right? So we can agree that both sectors have their risk. The question now is, how do you maximize profit and reduce the risk in the sector?
Okay. Well, for forex, I would sincerely say knowledge is everything.
All right.
You understand? There's this thing that we always tell our students, that you will pay to learn forex. Either you pay a mentor or you pay the market. Either ways, you will pay regardless.
Yeah.
Personally, he asked me initial question on how much I lost learning forex. I lost over $40,000 learning forex in a space of 3.5 years. So from the start of, because I don't come from what you call a poor family. We are above average. Not Dangote kind of money, but we are above average. So I had some money. Both from inheritance, my dad left before he passed on, and money I got from loans from bank, here and there, uncles, aunties, that kind of thing. So I lost a lot of money, learning forex. So, but my problem was not simply because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have the right knowledge. You understand? So if I were to start over at Forex today, I most likely, first of all, go for mentorship. That was why when we decided to go in straight into, diversify into real estate, first of all, I came straight to you. How much is your course? Gave me all the courses available. I said, how much is everything? I paid for everything because I don't want to go into real estate the same way I went into Forex.
Yeah.
So I wanted mentorship straight. Tell me what works. I'm going with whatever you tell me. You understand? So the risk involved in Forex trading is just the risk of not having enough knowledge. If you don't have the knowledge, understand how the market works, the rudiments of the market, especially coming from the perspective that this market is a combination of two factors. You need a skill set, you need a mindset. So most people have the skill set of a Forex trader, but they don't have the mindset of a Forex trader. You understand? Now, there's some things that can give you some dispositions in your mind that can give you advantage as a Forex trader. For instance, let's say I'm a naturally greedy person. I can convert that greed to my advantage in Forex. For instance, I'm not really a greedy person personally, but I know people who are quite greedy in terms of that's how they are. But it's an advantage to them in Forex because they can enter a particular trade setup and a trade maybe they entered with $1,000. There's profit already $2,000. That's 200%, ROI already. But they can wait. They can hold that trade till it becomes becomes $1,000. We've had people in this industry that turn $100 to $1 million,
and that automatically also is a testament of their risk appetite.
Yes, of their risk appetite. That's what I'm trying to say. So the risk is there, but we put the risk to our advantage. You understand? And of course, you stand the chance of, if you don't know what you're doing, stand the chance of getting your fingers burnt. I got my fingers burnt. You can lose a lot of money in Forex. If I'd have had last year, I had over like 3 different police cases where somebody calls out, FX Daddy, and this one, I collected money from this person. One was even as a case where I was speaking to the policeman that was with him in the prison. Something that didn't have anything to do with me. Just because he knew me, he felt like, let me reach out to him and see whether he can help me and that kind of thing. So there are cases like that. There are people that ended up in prison because of issues like this.
Yeah.
But that's why
like real estate.
Just like real estate. So that's what I always advise. I mean, if you're going to go into Forex trading, start with mentorship. Don't try to figure it out on yourself. It's possible to figure it out on yourself. I won't lie to you. Personally, I figured it out myself, but it cost me $40,000.
Yeah.
So do you have $40,000 to spend learning it? So the easiest way is always mentorship. I will advise that anytime, any day, and understand the risk. Understand what, at worst case scenario, this is what can happen. And once you're okay with the worst case scenario, you're good to go.
Yeah.
But you just need to be sure that you're okay with the worst case scenario. Once you're good with that, go ahead. When I started trading, I was so afraid of being in debt, and I kept, the first time I had an issue where a client gave me fund, I lost the money. I know the pain. It's painful making money. It's more painful making to pay. That's the worst way. I made up my mind. This thing can never happen again. So we devised different systems that we can be able to manage people's funds even without them sending money to our account. In which case, we came up with different copy trading systems, palm systems and stuff like that. So these are systems that you can use to manage funds even without them sending money to your account. So that way you put the risk on the side of the client. So on that point, I can sincerely say that the risks are there, but if you understand the risk will be to your favor. Because anything that has the tendency of high risk has a tendency of high reward.
Yeah.
You understand? Anything that
higher the risk, the higher the
risk, higher the reward. You understand? So of course, like you said, Forex trading might not be for everybody. It might not be for everybody. It is available for everybody. There's not everybody should trade Forex because of that. It's not everybody that likes that up and down the market. Because you can enter a trade today, you enter a trade now, and you're seeing profit $1,000, and you just go inside to go pee, come back before you see minus 5,000. There's nobody that can deal with that kind of stress. So I had a particular man come here for our training. This man came from Biosa for our training, and he was telling one of our staff that, at some point during his trading, when he was learning, there was one time he entered the bedroom to take his bait. He was looking at a trade, entered the bedroom, came back, the same trade that was on profit, the account was gone. He said on the spot he had brain, what's it they call it? Like his mouse shifted instantly because of the shock. He couldn't stand the shock. You understand? So
there's nothing you can do about it.
There's nothing. The money is gone.
No police to report.
No police to report. You understand? So that I can tell you, yes, Forex is high risk, but it's highly rewarding. It's highly high. Personally, I mean, I'm a testament of what Forex can do. As when I was doing my youth service, I was driving my third car during NYSC. You understand? So I was a rich copper. So when other people were looking for hospitals that would pay them,
you're not queuing for food.
I was not at all. When other people were looking for hospitals that would pay them, because I'm a medical personnel. I don't know what I told you.
Yeah, you did.
I'm a physical therapist by training. So when I was doing my internship, after an internship going for service, I told my head HOD that anything you can do for me not to come to work, I'm fine. I just want to have my time. In which case, he allowed me. I come to hospital once I have something to do and all. So it was a bit. I was balling. You could say I was balling. For me to say I bought my first property 4 years ago, means that I was making a lot of money then. You understand? So it has, the risk is there, but once you can put the risk to your favor, I think you're good to go.
I think with what you're saying, I can gain insights or some level of insight as somebody who looks at the numbers. I think that every Forex trader should have a bench line.
Okay.
In other words, I made $50,000 today. I can't trade, or as far as my cash base is concerned, I should never have below $30,000 in my account.
Okay, yeah.
In other words, irrespective of how the market is doing, I can't go or touch anything that goes into below $30,000. I can trade the entire $20,000, lose it, make more money with it. But anything below $30,000, I'm not going to go there.
Yeah.
If there can be that discipline or system that helps you stay with that line of discipline, I think that makes sense.
That's the problem. The problem is discipline now. The problem is it's difficult to stay disciplined in Forex. I'll tell you this.
Okay.
Yes, because for instance, now let's talk about real estate. If I have a plot of land, if you buy that land, I'm giving you land, you're giving me money.
Yeah.
You understand? But in Forex, you're trading money for money. So the emotional exposition that comes with it is higher, way higher than what you have in real estate. Do you understand? Because your emotions are all over the place, because the money can go and the money can come. You understand? So for instance, now the percentage, unlike real estate where we know that maybe land appreciates gradually, maybe 5%, 10%, 20%, like that. In Forex, you can enter, especially if you don't know what you're doing, if you're not good at finance, you might enter a trade, lose 10% today, make 20% tomorrow, make 30% tomorrow, lose 50% tomorrow. You understand? Because of that irregular growth curve, it's a bit difficult to be disciplined with it.
I think there's something like that with real estate.
Okay.
And what it is one of my coaches calls it asset addict.
Okay.
In other words, so it's not exactly, but it's still in line with the appetite. So for example, when we started developing our project, I had that tendency to literally empty my account buying properties. I could make a commission of XYZ, and I have projected myself. In fact, I'm already on an installment payment that my commission cannot deal with or handle. I can empty my account buying properties, right? Of course, that's what aided in the transition. But I noticed that was a bit of a problem because I was always biting more than I could chew.
Yeah.
And I think it's almost the same spirit of emptying your account. Or for example, this property is so nice, I can see this property will give you huge return on investment. Instead of me to buy one plot, I want to buy three. Instead of me to buy three, I want to buy 10. right? Instead of 10, I want to buy 5 hectares, right? And then sometimes, in fact, the spirit also is in the development. How? You have a project that is, say the owner has 10 hectares.
Okay.
And then the spirit, knowing that this location is great, knowing that this will give you huge returns on investment. In fact, we have multiple projects like that right now, where I'm like, we're not selling anymore, because I know that this is going to give us massive return on investment. And then, even though we're not selling anymore, I want to buy more, so that we have what to sell for as long as 5 years on that project. But then again, you know that the cash available cannot handle that entire stuff. And then the tendency to want to take a loan to acquire extra 3 hectares is also there. So I know that I made that advice, but with your response, it made me remember that with real estate, that attitude is also there. But there's a point we have to draw the line, either in real estate or in forex. And I think that line should be knowing what works, and importantly, creating systems that are above our emotions. In other words, this is a system and structure around my business. I am accountable to maybe a mentor or a system that I respect. In other words, for example, I have a finance team. And from my perspective in having those financial conversations, we know that even though we want to pause sales on this project, we know that it makes sense to buy 3 more hectares. But how do we raise money to buy the extra hectares? Of course, knowing that Abuja, 1 hectare is a whole lot of millions, right? And at that level, the question now is, do I borrow money, which increases my risk, but of course increases my profit? But at that point, who should approve that move, which is the accountability system I'm talking about, either with forex trading or with real estate. It's possible that you own the $50,000, but somebody else approves the use of that $50,000. It's your money, but you're accountable to a system or a person. In other words, sir, I want to trade, this thing is making sense. I want to trade the entire $50,000 in my account. And the man says no, or the system says no. You can only trade $20,000, and there's nothing you can do about it. That way, there is some level of discipline in what we are doing.
And the thing is, you know, many people come into forex trading, especially as a matter of survival. It's not, people don't come into forex trading majorly because they want to build sustainable long-term wealth. Because, like you rightly said, the mode of entry is a bit easy. It's very small. Just with a $10 account, you started trading. You understand? So people come in based on survival. So somebody coming with a survival mindset is different from somebody who's coming in to build wealth. So building wealth now is where you start factoring things like accountability system, knowing, this is what our capacity is per time, this is what we should do, this is what we should not do, and all. So as you were speaking, it so reminded me another advantage I said I would talk about. I even forgot. Forex trading is the scalability in forex is a bit easier than what I see in real estate.
Correct.
Let me tell you why. Because if I have the skill of trading, scaling for me is simply more capital, nothing else. I don't need extra shop. I don't need overhead. There's no overhead cost. I don't need to employ more staff.
Operational costs.
You understand? No operational costs and all. Nigeria currently, there's no taxing system, effective taxing system,
regulations,
forex trading also. You understand? So just more capital have scaled up. So that way, for instance, now us as a company, Trade Wave Capital, the whole world is our client, because once you have money, you're my client. Once you have money and you're willing to join an account management system or something like that, you become my client automatically. Unlike real estate, where it's a bit too, unless maybe you guys maybe have a land, say, okay, what do you want to do with the land? Let's do a JV. Okay, you now sign agreement like that. Before that process, it takes a little while, and by the time you go to edges, you want to do confirmations of the land, all of that. But in forex is a bit different. So all you need is just fund the money, join account management. You can fund the $50,000, start managing it today in less than 2 hours. We started managing the account. You understand? So it's a bit. That's one of the little advantage I forgot when we were talking about advantages, though.
Okay, so let me now touch on
Strategy.
maximizing strategies to maximize real estate investment on this side, and then we'll begin to wrap up the conversation. I'm sure you guys are having a great time, and don't forget to subscribe to these channels because
Yes.
I mean, what we're doing is totally mind blowing. FS Daddy on one side, and of course Raymond on this other side. Now, strategies to maximize real estate investment is first. He mentioned knowledge, and knowledge is key. And if you don't have the time or energy to dig deep into the knowledge dimension of real estate, look for someone that you know has the knowledge and you can trust on whatever he or she tells you.
Yes.
That way you rely on professional advice and guidance instead of just thinking you have money. As I've always said, making more money or having money in real estate or having money and then pumping it into real estate doesn't mean you will maximize profits. In fact, having a whole lot of money can even mean you making serious mistakes with real estate. It's important that you engage in strategy. In other words, very first thing I will always ask any client who is trusting me with funds is, what is your end goal? In other words, what do you want to achieve from this money with real estate? And then at that point, I'm able to say, okay, this is what you should go into. Is it short term? Is it long term? Is it cash flow? And sometimes clients have reached out to me and then they want to buy a plot of land and then they end up buying houses. Some have reached out, they want to buy a house and they end up buying multiple lands, right? I have clients who no longer just buy plots of land. They buy in big sizes as developers at that partnership level, right? All that depends on what you want to do. I have one of my clients, the couple that did something with me earlier in the year. What they got for around 80 million approximately. Right now it's going for, this is April, it's going for almost 190 something.
Wow.
Right? So that is strategy. They didn't just boom, oh Raymond, I want 2 plots of land. No, that is a level. The same way that there are syndicates or there are people who are doing this stuff at a bigger level, there are moguls. The level that you play matters. You can play at the buying and selling level. You can play at a partnership level. You can play at as an investment level and a partnership level. And of course, you can play as a developer level. So the level that you come in matters. But irrespective of the level, the question always is, what is your end goal? Your end goal with a professional advisor should now be able to now guide you on, this is what to do. Do this, don't do this. Do short-let, don't do short-let. Invest in this location, don't invest in that one. Because some locations have tendencies of giving you higher returns. All right, you don't want to put your money somewhere that in 10 years, the return is not there. Whereas the same money can be put in another location and then it's going to give you as much as 500% return in another 1 year, right? So location also matters. I'm quite familiar with the Abuja master plan, the move of development in the city, right? So from that perspective, I'm able to say, this is the place to put in your money right now. This is the place to go. Don't go here. Forget this place. Leave this place, right? So I would say knowledge. I would say professional counselor. Again, like I said before, you want to invest in real estate and you're calling your uncle in the village, right? It's okay, right? I respect the brotherly relationship and love that people have with their families. But I think that if at my level, I don't have the perfect knowledge about real estate. Whereas your uncle somewhere or your brother who doesn't even know jack about real estate, and then you are trusting his information about or what he's going to tell you about that investment, right? So that doesn't make sense. If I want to do certain things, in fact, it's fine. Let's leave that conversation, right? But if you want to really play big and maximize real estate, go with knowledge, involve the right brokers, and know what you want to do. Have the long-term picture in mind. And as per risk appetite, I would say the risk is lower with real estate. And then it gives you stability, peace of mind, right? You can be seeing your plot of land and then you take possession, you can watch over it, you're fine at the end of it. Just make sure that you also get the right documents. Documentation is key with real estate. So there's just a number of factors, right, which we cannot even exhaust in this particular video on playing safe and sustainably with real estate, which is a good point for me to encourage you to check out other videos that we have on our YouTube channel. And with that, from there, you'll be able to, of course, have more knowledge as relates to investing safely and rightly within the real estate sector. Now, in your conclusion, FX Daddy, what would you say about real estate and forex. Your conclusion.
Okay, in all sense of sincerity, in as much I'm a forex trader basically, and a portfolio manager in that sense. I wouldn't deny the fact that personally I love real estate. I love real estate. You see, you use the word security, which security and peace of mind, which is something real estate gives me a lot. Looking at the property, maybe you've already developed or you're developing, it gives a lot of peace of mind. Before we came for this, podcast, we went to visit one of my sites where I'm doing, a very massive project, and checking everything, calling my engineer and everything. I mean, there's a lot of peace of mind that comes with it, knowing fully well that this
It's
property
there. You are seeing
will
it.
be here. It won't disappear in the next 3 years. I know. So it comes a lot of peace of mind, and so with other properties I have also. Some are fenced, some are not fenced. You just know that this is mine. This is my own. Nothing will happen to it. So it comes a lot of peace of mind. But for me, if I would advise someone who wants to go in, I would advise you choose the both of them.
Okay.
Because with forex, you can generate some quick funds to be able to put into real estate, which is exactly what we're doing at company level now.
Yeah.
So we generate income from trading, deploy it into real estate, and like that. So if you're somebody who has the funds to spare, or you don't even have the funds, you just need to have the time. You can take both industries, and these are one of the two biggest industries, sectors in the whole world: real estate and finance. So you can choose both sectors and decide to learn about both of them. And there's a lot of money, especially in those two sectors. You know what you are doing.
Yeah.
There's no how, unless you're just wasting your time. But if you really know what you're doing, there's no how you can build sustainable wealth in finance and real estate. So in conclusion, that's what I typically advise. So all our viewers, everyone listening to this podcast, I would advise that you take both industries and study them. Study them. Raymond has a very fantastic course. I said fantastic not because he's here, but because I'm undertaking the course. I paid for everything they have available. I said, give me everything, and and it has been an amazing journey learning real estate from him. Also, we have forex training, mentorship courses, and also, of course, these are two industries that, trust me, make you a lot of money.
All right. So I think that pretty much looks like the conclusion of the conversation.
Yeah.
In summary, or in other words, would be intentional.
Yeah.
Know what you want to do with forex. Know what you want to do with real estate. Forex is real. Real estate is real. But understand that understand the level you want to play in, the level you want to go in from. How you want to maximize both. Like you mentioned, you can use money from forex and use it to diversify into real estate. You can also use money from real estate
And even diversify.
and then also diversify into forex, right? So, and I think that both sectors are sectors. They come with their different risks, different advantages and disadvantages. But the greatest principle for me that I feel that applies to finance is diversification.
Yeah.
Right? Diversify within sector, diversify across sectors. In other words, within real estate, you can do commercial, you can do residential, you can do flipping, you can do anything within the real estate sector. And even in the investment itself, invest in Asukoro, invest in Karishe, invest in Kiami, invest in different locations. That also diversification within the sector. And then diversification across board will now be, okay, I make money from real estate, I put it into forex. I make money from here, I put it into this other industry. I make money from real estate, I go into oil and gas. I go into hospitality, of course. So this is back into real estate, right? But generally, just look out for how you are able to diversify what you are doing. Again, seek mentorship.
Yeah.
Go for knowledge. Every industry, even life, as we're sitting down here right now, there is risk in the fact that we're sitting down here right now.
Sure.
But if you're able to do what you do with knowledge, it helps you to mitigate or manage the risk, not eliminate the risk, which is absolutely a fact. And in wrapping up this conversation, I would boldly say that this was not a consultancy conversation. this was an educational conversation. If you need further knowledge on Forex, reach out to the appropriate person or people that you trust. If you need knowledge on real estate, specific conversations around what to invest in, how to invest, what to do, what not to do, reach out to the appropriate persons that you feel comfortable with, that you trust as far as it concerns real estate is concerned, so that you are able to maximize whatever purpose that you want to get into as far as it concerns real estate or Forex. And of course, if you ask me to be biased, why not reach out to FX Study? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having us again, and I hope that this was a very valuable conversation to you. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and importantly, stay in touch. And right here we are building wealth through real estate, and for FX Daddy through Forex trading or everything related to Forex. So do make sure you subscribe to this channel, and be rest assured that you will have value around this conversation or further conversations around Forex or real estate. And yes, we promised a giveaway, and I'll allow him to handle that.
All right, so we're doing massive giveaway for 5 people. We're giving giveaway for 5 people. So if you want to qualify for the giveaway, all you need to do is to summarize this conversation we had in 2 sentences. Just give us 2 sentences that summarizes this whole conversation. We'll pick 5 people randomly for free mentorship on real estate. You can choose which of the mentorship you want. You want to go for real estate mentorship, or you want to come for the Forex mentorship. Free mentorship for you, fully exclusive mentorship for you. All right, so all you need to do is just summarize the conversation in 2 sentences, and we'll pick 5 people randomly, the best summary, and we'll give you guys that giveaway. So thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to this channel. Catch you guys some other time.
Ladies and gentlemen,
thank you.
All right.